Tax season can be stressful, but for older adults it can also be dangerous. Every year, thousands of seniors across the US fall victim to tax-related scams, losing not just money, but peace of mind. Scammers today are clever. They sound official, they use fear, and they know exactly how to target older individuals, especially those who just want to do the right thing. If you've ever gotten a call, email, or letter that made you feel pressured, confused, or even scared about your taxes, you're not alone. And you deserve to know what's real and what's not. In this video, we'll walk you through 7 clear warning signs that someone may be trying to scam you, because protecting your finances starts with knowing the truth. Stay with us. This might just save you from a costly mistake. Sign Number 1, you get a phone call claiming to be the IRS demanding immediate payment. It always starts the same way. A phone rings, and the voice on the other end sounds official, stern, urgent. They say they're from the IRS, and you've made a serious mistake. There's a problem with your taxes, they claim. If you don't pay right now, there will be consequences. For Mr. Louis, 79, from Texas, that phone call came on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. The voice on the line told him he owed thousands in back taxes. He was told that if he didn't wire the money immediately, federal agents would come to arrest him. They even knew his address. Out of fear and panic, Mr. Lewis rushed to the nearest Western Union office and sent the money. It wasn't until days later that he realized he'd been scammed. Unfortunately, Lewis's story is not rare. In fact, it's part of one of the most common tax scams targeting older adults in the US every year. These scammers don't just use harsh words, they create fear, they speak quickly, they won't let you hang up, and they pressure you to act without thinking. But here's the truth, the IRS does not work this way, ever. The IRS will never call you out of the blue to demand payment, threaten you with arrest over the phone, ask you to wire money or pay with gift cards, demand that you act immediately without time to ask questions or verify. In reality, if there's a legitimate issue with your taxes, the IRS will always contact you first by mail, not by phone, not by email, and certainly not with threats. These scammers count on one thing: fear. They target older adults because they assume you're more likely to trust authority, follow rules, and want to avoid trouble. But the moment fear takes over, logic shuts down, and that's exactly when they strike. So what should you do if you ever receive a call like this? Hang up. Don't engage, don't ask questions, don't explain anything, just hang up. Then, if you're unsure whether the call was real, contact the IRS directly through their official number, 1-800-829-1040. A real agent will walk you through your status and help you verify everything safely. And remember, you're not alone. If this has happened to you or someone you know, don't feel ashamed. Scammers are professionals at what they do. But the more we talk about these tactics, the harder it becomes for them to succeed. Sign Number 2, you're asked to provide your SSN, bank account, or Medicare number via phone or email. It looks official. The logo seems real. The email says you're due for a tax refund, or that something needs urgent confirmation. All you have to do is click a link or reply with your information. That's exactly what happened to Mr. Harold, 72, from Arizona. He received an email that looked like it came from the IRS. It told him he had a refund waiting, but they just needed to verify his social security number first. The message was polite. It sounded legitimate. Wanting to make sure he received the refund, Harold responded. A week later, he learned someone had used his information to file a fake tax return under his name. His identity had been stolen. Harold's story is heartbreaking, but far from unique. Scammers are getting smarter. They don't always yell or threaten. Some of them sound helpful, even kind. But whether it's over the phone, by email, or through text, asking for personal information is a red flag every time. Let's make this crystal clear. The IRS will never ask for your social security number, bank account, or Medicare number through email, phone call, or text message. If they need information from you, they will send it by mail, in writing, with clear steps on how to respond safely. Scammers use urgency and trust to trick you into handing over the very tools they need to steal your identity. Once they have your personal information, they can file a fake tax return under your name, open credit cards or loans, access your medical or government benefits, wreak havoc on your finances often before you even realize it. And unfortunately, older adults are often targeted because scammers assume you're less familiar with online fraud or more likely to respond out of trust. Here's what to watch for. Any unexpected request for personal or financial info, emails or texts with links that ask you to verify your details, calls claiming they just need a few numbers to process your refund. If you receive a message like this, do not respond, don't click, don't reply, and don't share any information. Instead, delete the message immediately. Report it to the IRS through their phishing reporting service. Sign number 3, you're offered help. Filing taxes for free, but asked to pay upfront fees. It's a kind offer, or so it seems. Someone approaches you either in person, over the phone, or even through a flyer at the grocery store. They say they're a tax expert, and they can help you get money back from the government, often thousands of dollars. The best part, they say it's free. Well, sort of. That's exactly what happened to Mrs. Sheila, 76, from Illinois. She was told she could qualify for a $4,000 tax refund she didn't even know about. The man who approached her said he'd take care of all the paperwork, and she wouldn't have to lift a finger. But first, he needed a $600 processing fee. He said it would be refunded once the return was filed. Sheila trusted him. He seemed knowledgeable, even friendly. She paid him the money. She never heard from him again. This type of scam is especially cruel because it preys on trust, hope, and sometimes even financial need. And it's becoming more common, especially during tax season. Here's what you need to know. Legitimate tax help for older adults is available, and it's truly free. Programs like AARP Foundation Tax Aid and the IRS's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, VITA, are designed to help seniors file taxes safely and accurately. They don't charge you up front. In fact, they don't charge you at all. So if someone says they'll help you with your taxes but asks for money first, that's your sign to walk away. Many scammers claim they can get you extra refunds or hidden benefits that no one else knows about. They'll throw around tax terms, mention specific dollar amounts, and pressure you to act fast. But in the end, their goal is simple: take your money and disappear. Let's be honest, taxes can be confusing, especially as laws change. It's understandable to want help, but real help doesn't come with surprise price tags or grand promises that sound too good to be true. To protect yourself, follow these tips. Never pay an upfront fee for tax filing services unless you're working with a known, reputable professional. Always ask for credentials. Legitimate preparers will have a Preparer Tax Identification Number, PTIN, issued by the IRS. Be cautious if someone promises unusually large refunds, especially if they haven't reviewed your actual financial documents. And most importantly, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Sign hub before you receive a letter that looks real, but something feels off. A letter arrives in the mail. It has the IRS logo. It looks official, almost. But as you read it more closely, something doesn't sit right. That's what happened to an elderly couple in Ohio. They received a letter claiming to be from the IRS, warning them of unpaid taxes and urging them to respond immediately. It looked legitimate at first glance, logo, seal, even a formal tone. But a few small details stood out. The state name was misspelled, the grammar was a little awkward, and the email provided for follow-up. It ended in edgemail.com. Fortunately, the couple paused before acting. They took the letter to a local tax office, only to learn it was a scam. This type of scam is growing more common and more dangerous because it looks real on the surface, especially to someone who's trying to do the right thing and stay ahead of tax obligations. Scammers are now printing fake letters with IRS logos, urgent-sounding language, and even barcodes to make them appear more believable. But no matter how polished they look, these letters often contain subtle but important red flags, typos or incorrect grammar. Generic greetings like "Dear Taxpayer" instead of your full name, odd contact details like phone numbers that don't match official IRS listings, or email addresses ending in edgemail.com, eoutlook.com, or anything other than .gov. Vague instructions like "Send payment to this address" without a clear explanation or reference number. The real IRS does send letters, but they're specific, traceable, and clearly formatted. A legitimate IRS notice will include your full name and a proper tax ID number, often partially masked, a notice number in the top right-hand corner, a clear explanation of the issue or request, a secure return address tied to a verified IRS office, and most importantly, it will never threaten you or demand immediate action through unusual channels. If you receive a letter and something feels off, don't ignore your instincts. Take a moment to compare the notice to official IRS letter samples online. Never use the phone number or email address listed in a suspicious letter. Always go to the source. Sign number 5, you're threatened with legal action. Unless you act immediately, few things shake us more than the word arrest. And scammers know it. That's why one of the most aggressive and frightening tactics they use is pretending to be from the IRS or law enforcement and warning you that if you don't act right now, you'll go to jail. Mr. Tony, 81, from New York, received a call like that. The voice on the line told him he owed back taxes, 5 years' worth to be exact. The caller said if he didn't pay immediately, the police would come to his home and arrest him. Alone and startled, Mr. Tony nearly gave in. But thankfully, his son happened to visit just minutes later. After hearing what was going on, he did a quick search and quickly confirmed it was a scam. What happened to Mr. Tony could happen to anyone. When fear kicks in, it becomes hard to think clearly. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. Here's the truth. The IRS does not threaten arrest, ever. They do not call you demanding immediate action. Say the police or law enforcement are on their way. Try to scare you into paying with fear-based language. Demand payment without giving you time to review or dispute the claim. If there is a problem with your taxes, the IRS follows a specific and respectful process. They send you written notices through the mail, not one, but several. They give you time to respond, ask questions, and if necessary, appeal. And even in cases of serious tax issues, jail is almost never involved and certainly not as a surprise. So why do these scams work? Because the threat of legal trouble, especially for older adults who value integrity and responsibility, hits hard. The fear of doing something wrong or of causing trouble for your family can make even the most cautious person feel pressured to act fast. But when it comes to taxes, and especially the IRS, acting fast without verifying first is exactly what scammers want. Here's how to protect yourself. Hang up immediately if someone threatens legal action over the phone. Do not share any personal or financial information, no matter how urgent they sound. Talk to a trusted family member or friend before responding to any kind of demand. Sign that 6. A family member or someone pretending to be one asks you to help file a return to split the refund. When someone in the family asks for help, most of us don't think twice. We want to support the people we care about, especially when it sounds like something simple or harmless. That's exactly how Mrs. Ruth, 70 from California, got into trouble she never saw coming. One afternoon, she received a call from someone claiming to be a distant cousin. He told her he was struggling financially and needed help filing his taxes. He couldn't file under his own name, he said, but if Ruth filed the return under her name instead, they could split the refund once it came through. It sounded like an easy favor. He even said he'd take care of the paperwork. Wanting to help, Ruth agreed. Weeks later, she received a letter from the IRS, not about a refund, but about a fine. It turned out the information submitted was false, and because the return was filed under Ruth's name, she was held responsible. She had been scammed, and worse, the mistake was tied to her legal record. This is a kind of fraud that doesn't always look like fraud. Sometimes it comes disguised as family, or friendliness, or a favor. But make no mistake, filing taxes under your name for someone else, even if they ask nicely, puts you at serious risk. The IRS holds the taxpayer, the person who signs the return, legally accountable for every detail in the filing. If the numbers are incorrect or the refund is based on false claims, it's not the other person who gets in trouble, it's you. And unfortunately, scammers know that older adults are often generous, trusting, and eager to help when family is involved. That's why they sometimes impersonate relatives through phone calls, texts, or even in person. Here's how to protect yourself. Never file a return on behalf of someone else unless you've verified their identity and understand exactly what's being claimed. Be especially cautious if someone offers to split a refund. That's a common red flag in tax fraud schemes. Don't be pressured by urgency or emotional manipulation. If someone says, "I really need this fast, just do it for me," step back and think. If you're unsure, talk to a trusted family member, financial advisor, or contact the IRS directly before taking any action. Sign Order 7, you're promised a tax refund that sounds too good to be true. Imagine getting a message out of the blue saying you're owed nearly $7,000 from the IRS, even though you didn't work last year. It sounds like a blessing, maybe even a miracle, but for Mr. David, 75, from Georgia, it turned into a nightmare. The message claimed he was eligible for a $6,800 refund as part of a special program for seniors. All he had to do was confirm his bank account details to receive the money quickly. It sounded suspicious, but also hopeful. David had faced medical bills and rising living costs. A refund like that could really help. So he entered his information through the link they sent. Within days, his bank account showed multiple unauthorized withdrawals. The money he had? Gone. This kind of scam is especially cruel because it plays on hope. Older adults, especially those on fixed incomes, may be more vulnerable to promises of surprise refunds, bonus stimulus payments, or government benefits you didn't know you qualified for. But here's the truth. The IRS does not randomly send out large refunds, and they never ask for your bank details through strange links or text messages. Any refund you receive from the IRS is based on actual income earned and reported, proper tax forms filed through official channels, review and verification by the agency. If you didn't work during the year or didn't qualify for refundable tax credits, you will not be owed thousands of dollars. And anyone who tells you otherwise is trying to deceive you. Scammers use exciting numbers to distract you from their real goal, getting access to your personal and financial information. And once they have your bank account details, they can withdraw money without your permission, open credit in your name, lock you out of your own accounts. So, what can you do to stay safe? Be skeptical of unexpected messages promising large refunds, especially if you haven't filed anything yet. Never click links in emails or texts claiming to come from the IRS. Go directly to the IRS website or call them to verify. If someone says you're owed money, ask, based on what? If there's no clear answer, it's likely a scam. And remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Scammers are getting smarter. Their tricks are more convincing. Their language is more polished. And their timing, often during tax season, is no accident. But here's the good news. The earlier you recognize the warning signs, the easier it is to protect yourself. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't hesitate to say, "Let me double-check that." You have every right to feel safe, informed, and in control of your financial choices. If you ever feel unsure about a phone call, letter, email, or message, call the IRS directly. If this video helped you feel more prepared or aware, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video or article with someone you care about, a friend from church, a neighbor, or anyone who might be vulnerable to these scams. Just one shared story could save someone thousands of dollars and a lot of heartache. Keep the IRS number somewhere visible, 1-800-829-1040. You never know when you or someone you love might need it. Have a conversation. Tonight at dinner, bring this up with your family. Let your kids or grandkids know that you'd appreciate their help reviewing anything suspicious. And most of all, stay alert and stay informed. The more we learn, the stronger we become, together. Because protecting yourself isn't just about being careful, it's about being empowered. They will help you verify what's real and what's not. Talk with your family, ask your children, grandchildren, or a trusted friend to review anything suspicious. A second pair of eyes can make all the difference. Share what you've learned. Tell a friend, a neighbor, or someone in your community group. Many scams succeed simply because no one warned the next person in time. Because when it comes to scams, prevention is always better than cure. And the more we watch out for each other, the harder it becomes for scammers to succeed. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to receive more useful information for others.